The voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. There you go, Tommy James, my favorite Tommy James song, Dragging the Line. Before that, it was Alive and Kicking, Tighter and Tighter, a song written by Tommy James. Stevie Lawrence, out of the Bronx, gave us Pretty Blue Eyes, and we got the Fireflies. Richie Adams on lead, and Can't Say Goodbye Anymore. Well. Now, when you talk about royalty, this man is it. He is a true rock and roll legend. I don't want to embarrass him, but I'm quoting facts here. A true rock and roll legend. He is entering his 51st year in the music business. I find that hard to believe, but it is true. It says it right here in front of me. He also has 5 Millionaire Awards. Well, wait, that's which means his songs have aired 5 million times. Welcome to the Sock Hop, a man who will be headlining at the NYCB Theater at Westbury this Saturday night, along with John Sebastian. It is Tommy James. Welcome, Tommy.
Well, thank you. It's great talking with you.
Yeah, now we go way back.
We do.
Whew. I mean, it was funny. I was thinking today on how long we know each other, and it's got to be close to 20 years.
Absolutely. At least that.
Yeah, it goes back to my days at B103 with, Rick Martini and Keith Allen and Jessica Stevens. And
I miss you guys.
I know. Well, you know what? I got to tell you, I had a lot of fun during those days, and I would never trade my radio days for anything.
That was a fun station, wasn't it?
You know what? That was the key. It was fun. It wasn't like going to a job every day and you're getting bored. It was just amazing. Now, you have been at the NYCB Theater, well, let's be realistic, the Westbury Music Fair, as we all still call it, a lot of years.
Yes. Well, you know something? I love playing out there. It's one of the last in-the-round theaters in the country. And in the round was very controversial when it first came out because it means that the group is in the center of a huge circle, and the audience basically sitting on top of the stage, and the performer is spinning around on this stage, and you could get very disoriented if you keep your eyes in the same place all the time. But it's a marvelous place to see a show. It's wonderful for the audience. So. It's not bad for the act either, except if you bomb, there's nowhere to run.
Yeah, to quote Martha Reeves in the Vandellas, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
That's it.
But you know what? You have never bombed. I have seen you a lot, and you are always on the money. And the most important thing to me, besides sounding good, is you still are having fun.
Well, that's very true. I mean, I think I'm the most alive when I'm performing. I love to perform. I always have, and which is really weird because naturally I'm very shy, and I picked a hell of a business to be in, didn't I? I really am kind of a homebody, and I'm boring, and but the business I'm in, I have to be just the opposite. So. Very interesting. I feel a shrink would have a field day with me. What I'm saying.
You break out of your shell for an hour and a half, and then that but it's all good because if people have never seen you, I have one question: why the hell not? And once they see you, they are going to want to go back again and again and I'm not just saying it because I'm talking to you. You are a true entertainer.
Well, thank you.
You have performers, you have entertainers. You are hands down. One of the top.
Well, I appreciate that very much, Steve.
Now, here's some stuff that I didn't know about you. 23 gold records, 9 platinum albums, and over 100 million records sold worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Well, the stats are great, but what it all boils down to is really a relationship between the artist and the fans. I look out at our concert crowd, and I see literally 3 generations of people.
Isn't that something when you see that?
It really is. It's very close to being a religious experience. But, honestly, and, they all know the music, and it's really great. And I feel like, the fans have become sort of like extended family. And it really is wonderful, and I really feel great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love selling the records. I love making the records, but I love writing songs. But there's nothing like being with the people, being in front of the people. You're really in the now, if you know what I mean.
Right. Oh. Welcome to the Sock Hop. In case you just tuned in, on the phone with us is Tommy James of the Shondells, and I have a question for you because I know that you wrote "Tighter and Tighter" for Alive and Kickin',
we produced it too.
Which is that I didn't know. Which is a great song, and Peppy is still again.
And I sang
amazing.
on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's background.
Well, now, if memory serves me correctly, and hopefully I don't have wrong information here, you originally wrote another song for them, but liked it and kept it. Is that true?
Well, I didn't. He's talking about Crystal Blue Persuasion. I didn't write it for them.
Oh, okay.
I wrote the song and I had it, and they'd been after me to produce them for a while. Peppy turned out to be a really great friend, and Sandy as well, Sandy Toder, who was the other lead singer. Well, the whole group, and so I ended up doing, of course, I did Crystal Blue Persuasion, but I had written this other tune, Tighter, Tighter, for myself as well, and I went in the studio and we laid down the track, and I just didn't like the way my vocal was coming out. I just didn't like the way I was singing it. There's something that just, I don't know, wasn't right, and I said, this would be a great song for Alive and Kickin'. And so I rewrote the thing as a duet, and so that they could switch verses, and brought them into the studio, and they played literally on top of the track that we had already laid down. The guitar player, Bruce Sedano, the organ player, and then they sang. They sang it as a duet, and it was great. I could tell as we were doing the record that this was going to be a smash, and took it to roulette, and just put it right out, almost like one of mine, and lo and behold, it goes to number one, and I was just really flipped out, and they did a really great job on that record. Peppy's still working,
and he still does a great job.
Yes.
I've seen Peppy a couple of times, and he's, you can't really classify him as an oldies act because he does everything. I mean, he's got a great voice where he does the song from Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't
Peppy's
expect.
a real talent.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
Now, how difficult is it to write songs? Do you write the words first and then the music, or what goes through your mind when you write a song?
It's different with different songs. I like to start a lot with the chord progression. It can be a riff. It can be sometimes on a piano. I like to start with a chord progression that really moves me, and a groove. And at that point, there's a lot of subjects I want to write about. I may have a title. I love to look at titles. You never know where it's going to come from a matchbook cover, from a billboard. Titles can come from everywhere. It's just an interesting combination of words. But the groove and the chords usually come first. And then the song kind of tells you where it wants to go from that point on.
Interesting. Well, obviously your music goes and stands the test of time because the artists that have covered Tommy James songs, we got Prince, Bruce Springsteen, Billy Idol, Joan Jett, Carlos Santana, Kelly Clarkson, Tom Jones, Cher, Dolly Parton, and the Boston Pops. Now, I have played the duet that you did with Dolly Parton on her album, which is actually, it's a great album. And I love the duet that you did with her. And in my opinion, it came out amazing.
You know, Dolly did her half of the record in Nashville, and I did my half here in New Jersey. And we got together at Radio City. And I had never met Dolly before. She wrote me the sweetest letter and asked me if I would do this. And I said, yeah. And I love the way she turned what is the fade on my record, you know, the Crimson and Clover over and over, and turned that into the chorus, turned that into a hook, and did it several times throughout the record. And then she turned it into really a great country feel. And I couldn't believe. I'm amazed how many ways Crimson and Clover works. Prince, I don't know if you ever heard his version of it.
No,
He did it on his first digital album and went number one. They released it as a single, and it was his version of Crimson and Clover, and it just is the most interesting version I've about ever heard. It was very futuristic, and he sort of inverted the chords, and it just was an amazing record. And I was really sorry I never got a chance to thank him and tell him what a good job he did before he died.
Wow. Once again, you guys are listening to the Sock Hop right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. On the phone with us, as I mentioned, the legendary Tommy James. People hate when I say the word legendary, but you truly are a legend.
Well, thank you. A legend, boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That and a dime will get you a cup of coffee. That and $4 will get you a cup of coffee.
Every time I have Don K. Reed on my show, he cringes when I introduce him as the legendary Don K. Reed because he keeps saying to me, legendary. That's kind of a way you introduce somebody when they're dead. And I said, but wouldn't you want to be known? Wouldn't you want to be known as a legend while you're still alive?
It's a lot of pressure because you got to be, you got to be polite. Then you can't swear. You got to be clean cut.
I'm putting a lot of pressure on you guys.
A lot of pressure.
Now, I have to ask you took two songs that I really love. One of them by the Righteous Brothers, Latin Loopy Lou. And the other one by Killer Joe.
That was by...
I'm sorry, the Rocky Fellas.
And the song Killer.
How did you merge those two songs and call it Loopy and Joe?
Well, that was those two songs I played when I was really a young teenager, when I was in my first cover band back in my hometown of Niles, Michigan. And, that was from literally 1963... 62, 63, and I used to play that live, and I always got an amazing response, and so I just thought it was time to do it. And we put together, of course, what you're talking about is Little Latin Loopy Lou and Killer Joe, and we called it Loopy and Joe. And we actually did it live in the studio.
I love it. I love when you do it in concert because it's just two great songs put together. Amazing.
Thank you. Now, we're doing a new album right now.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say right now, when it comes out, I need to get a copy of it, and I need to get you back on the show.
You got it.
So we can talk about that.
It's called Alive, and it's filled with new songs, and we did two covers that are going in our movie, which we'll talk about, but the two covers are really a wonderful new version of I Think We're Alone Now, which is slow and acoustic and totally unlike the original record, and that's going to be the closing credits to the movie. And the other one is... Distant Thunder is going to be in the movie. That's actually a song nobody's ever heard before. It was the last song that Morris Levy, the head of Roulette Records, and I agreed on should be a single. And I never got around to recording it. And we finally did it on this album. And then we have a new version of Dragging the Line, which is going to surprise a lot of people. And then the rest are new songs.
Now, of course, the movie is based on the book that you wrote.
Yes, called Me, the Mob, and the Music.
Now,
And it's literally the book